welcome to another episode of Hashtag Football Friday on Second City Sports, right here on Sports Zone Chicago. Along with Miss Lakeena McGee, I am Sydney Brown. You can follow yours truly on the Twitter and the IG at CK80. Once again, that's CK80. That's SIDKID80. That's SIDKID80.
You can follow me at Keenan McGee on the Twitter and at Keenan_McGee on the IG.
Make sure you download that Sports Zone Chicago app wherever you get your apps from, whether it's an Apple iTunes Store or Google Play, wherever you get your apps. Make sure that app says Sports Zone Chicago. You can catch our live shows, including this one, Second City Sports Zone, or our other 5 live shows. If you miss any of them, you can download that app, go back to those shows, watch them, and listen to them at your own leisure. If you want to follow Sports Zone Chicago on all social media platforms, you better do so at Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube at Sports Zone Chicago. Once again, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube at Sports Zone Chicago. If you want to follow our audio version of this program, the podcast version of Second City Sports, you could do so by subscribing to War on Anchor. We're available on all podcast platforms, including the iHeartRadio app. Make sure you type in those search engine boxes on all those podcast platforms. WARR on Anchor. Once again, WARR on Anchor. If you want to follow War Media, and you should, you can follow those guys on all social media platforms. That's Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube at War Media. Once again, at WARR Media. That's Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube. And thank you very much in advance for your support.
Like, share, subscribe, and tell your friends.
We are unapologetically fun, and we have very definite opinions. Lakeena, before we get started on the Hashtag Football Friday coverage, let's start with some good news for a change. And let's start off with some basketball, in particular the Chicago Bulls. The Bulls are 1-0 in this early season. They defeated the Detroit Pistons by the score of 94-88 in downtown Detroit in year 3, I believe, in their new arena for the Pistons, Little Caesars Arena. Lakeena, Zach LaVine led the Bulls with 34 points, but it was a bad shooting first half, which the Bulls shot 27%. But in the second half, they woke up. Zach LaVine took the team on his back, especially in that third quarter. The Bulls only had 10 points off their bench, but it was okay. The starters held it down. Nikolai Vujicic had 15 points. Lonzo Ball had 12. And DeMar DeRozan had 17 in his Bulls debut. Lakeena, I don't know, some people on both sides of the spectrum, I'll take this side of the spectrum. It was opening night. The Bulls are still having to learn about one another on the court. Yes, many people expected this team to blow out the Pistons, but I'm not too worried about that. You get out of there with the win without playing your best. Sometimes this is what happens in a long season. Yes, it was opening night. Yes, the Pistons are terrible. They were playing without rookie star Cade Cunningham, your guy, Lakeena. But I'll say this. The Bulls still have a lot to learn, and we should expect it coming into the season. But the way they played in the second half in terms of offense, I really like what the Bulls did. Now, they still have a long way to go, but I'm not too worried about this. I'm not jumping off a cliff like some people want some Bulls fans to do. I'm not going to fall for that childish nonsense.
Well, yeah, well, it's sort of silly that, Bulls tour was already like in mid-season form, like early on, especially when they got a little bit of the rust in the start. It's going to take a couple of games for everyone to kind of mesh. And I know Vooch has been struggling from 3. He was 1 for 4 in that game on Wednesday. But you know what? Look, Zach LaVine, that's why you have Zach LaVine, right? Picked up the slack for everybody else. But then again, the onus does have to be on him. And look, Vooch had 15, Lonzo Ball kicked in with 12, DeRozan had 17, and Patrick Williams was a little bit banged up, with the shoulder. It looks like he should be good to go tonight. And look, if they played a game like this maybe last year or even a couple of seasons ago, this team, the Bulls would have been rocked by like 15 or 20 points, let's be honest.
Yeah.
But, you have a star. Exactly, that's what stars do. But the good news is that the onus does have to be on him half the time. He had 30. Excuse me, at 34, Vooch has some, big defensive rebounds. DeRozan has some big defensive rebounds late, and also he hits some big shots. So I'm not like one of those people that look, I would assume we had 7 points off the bench. He actually had that early on, and I think it was Troy Brown Jr. I think he had put like a couple of quick fouls. He got pulled. So, and Io had to kind of pick up the slack, and he didn't like he was afraid out there. He said, look, okay, I'm out here, and these guys, you got the look. I mean, the the Pistons got some venerable players, Jeremy Grant and those guys. Frank Jackson and Killian Hayes. I mean, they have players. I know they have a new coaching staff, so it's going to take them a while to mesh. But the Bulls did cover. Our buddy Matt Pack would say they won by 6. So, but look, I think early in the season, I mean, look, they have the Pelicans. They've got a light schedule these first games. Then it gets next week gets a little bit tougher. But you pile on the wins now and see how you do measure up against some of those big teams they are going to be facing in these next few weeks.
You're listening to Second City Sports on the hashtag Football Friday. We're live and in living color right here on Sports Zone Chicago. Sid, Lakeena here with you. If you want to make a comment or you have a question for either one of us, you can go to our Facebook page at Sports Zone Chicago on Facebook, or Sports Zone Chicago on YouTube. Place your comments or questions in the comment section. Lakeena will get them up and running for you. If you try to troll or if you try to do something stupid, Lakeena will politely give you the Bill Lane beer boot. Going back to Wednesday night's road opener at Detroit, Lakeena, 2 players that I want to highlight here for Chicago. As I mentioned at the top of the broadcast, Nikola Vucevic had 15 points in 36 minutes. He had 15 rebounds, but he was also he also struggled in that first half. I know he picked up a couple of early fouls, and he had a technical foul in there as well. I thought that after that technical foul, it kind of bothered him for a while, but he definitely got back on track in terms of scoring in the second half. He missed a couple of tip-ins, I believe 3 in a row in that first half following that technical foul. He really struggled on the defensive end. He's not a defensive player, but I expect him to pick it up as the season goes along on the interior and on defense, but offensively he picked it up in the second half. Alex Caruso, the former NBA champion with the Los Angeles Lakers, he signed a 4-year deal in free agency in this offseason. In 27 minutes of action, he only had 3 points. He was in foul trouble all game, so he couldn't establish himself defensively like he wanted to, but he had 2 blocks and 4 steals. As we said before, and if you listen to our last show, which is this past Monday, we said that Alex Caruso will bring it off the bench, especially defensively from the perimeter. He set the tone on Wednesday against Detroit. Yes, he got held back a bit because he was in foul trouble. But you like the energy from the defensive end, from the point guard position that he brought off the bench. That's what we expect for him all season long.
Well, yeah, I think he got jobbed by some of those calls on the Bulls were just terrible. Like some of the traveling calls, some of the foul calls on Caruso. But he's already was a difference maker. He made some big steals. They helped the Bulls get back into the game, and he only scored 3 points. But you know what though? Again, he kind of give the Bulls a little bit of that jolt of energy that they needed. So I think you already know that you're already seeing why he was such a beloved figure in LA with the Lakers, and that's why Lakers fans are still bummed that they didn't re-sign him. But their loss when the Bulls is a game. But and look, I think it's going to take some games, and we'll talk about some other teams that's going to take some games before everybody meshes. Look, yeah, preseason is preseason, but we're talking about the real stuff. And look, folks aren't going to show you your full arsenal, in the preseason. They're not. They're not going to spend a lot of energy. So and you're gonna have these little, these grinded out games that you're gonna have to get from these teams. Look, like I said, the Pistons are gonna be a little bit better this year. Are they a playoff team? Probably not, but they're not gonna be pushovers like they were last year. And there are gonna be some other teams that they're gonna have to face that. Look, you're gonna have, and especially in the long 82 game season, you're gonna have these grinded out, we gotta go right down dirty, these wins. So, and look, I think everyone's gonna mesh. Look, I think Vuce's gonna get out of his slump. He should keep shooting. I know some people say maybe he shouldn't shoot or maybe he shouldn't start, but no, I think if he keeps shooting, he'll get back into a rhythm. So I'm not worried about Vuce right now. Lonzo, he showed some promise with the assists and stuff. DeRozan did what he needed to do. I mean, there were a couple of shots that were questionable, but he's been used to playing sort of like a slow down side with the Spurs the last few years. So, and the Bulls are going to play more like up tempo, so he's got to get used to that. So he should be used to it. I mean, because he did that. They did it in Toronto for some years when he was there. But look, I'm not worried about the Bulls. I think people are kind of like you're freaking out over nothing. And I think they should just give them some time to let them gel. And I think the good news is that they have a full schedule that they'll be able to.
Yeah, before we move on to the rest of the association, I wanted to bring up Lonzo Ball, and you mentioned that he did set the tone. You could tell that the difference in this team from last year and years past when this team did not truly have a true point guard. Lonzo Ball, he had 4 turnovers with 4 assists, but he's going to figure
Mhm.
it out. As I said before, it's going to take time, but you could tell the difference already. Being the on-court leader, we know that starting point guards are the extension. Uh, are the extension from the head coach, and so he was directing guys, particularly Zach LaVine and Vucevic. Those pick and roll plays, especially from the high side, is going to be very interesting this year. And speaking of Lonzo's shooting, it's been talked about over the summer that he improved his shot, and we mentioned it on this program. It didn't take long for him to start hoisting up open threes. He didn't take a lot of them. He was only two of six, but you could tell that if the rest of the guys, in terms of DeRozan and Zach LaVine and Vucevic, all those guys are scoring, it's going to open things up for Lonzo offensively that much more. You don't expect Lonzo to score. You expect him to set the tone and get the ball in the right position for the other guys. But if defenses are going to collapse on Zach LaVine and Vucevic, especially in the post, if Lonzo's open, he's going to take the open shot. That's what your true classic point guard in this offense should do.
Yeah, and and I think he'll learn too. I think he actually got better, with the Pelicans last year. So
Mhm.
I think he'll be fine once he starts like into the rhythm and get into the system. I think look, all these guys are going to mesh well together. So look, it's going to take some games, maybe like 5 to 10 games for these guys to kind of really get into a rhythm. So I'm not for all these folks to say, oh well, the Bulls are frauds, so everyone was right about it. No, let's slow down, folks. Okay, they've only played one game, so
It's way too
slow
early,
down.
folks. Way too early. And speaking of the Chicago Bulls, their home openers tonight at the United Center at 7 p.m. on NBC Sports Chicago against the New Orleans Pelicans. No Zion Williamson, boo. But it should be an exciting time at the United Center. For those fans that are going to the game tonight, remember you have to show proof of vaccination or for a negative COVID test 3 days prior to the event. So all you guys are going out there to the United States tonight, don't forget those items. And of course, they'll have another home game, which is a back-to-back tomorrow at 7 p.m. against the Detroit Pistons. So, like I said, they'll face the Pistons in a week. So tonight is New Orleans for the home opener. Tomorrow you face the Pistons again, but this time at the United States. So the Bulls should have a nice weekend. Hopefully, they'll be beat 3-0 by the time we join you back here on Monday. Lakeena, let's go to the rest of the association. Let's start off with Tuesday's action. The Brooklyn Nets got blasted by the defending world champion Milwaukee Bucks, while the Golden State Warriors shocked the NBA world by upsetting the Lakers at Staples Center, 121-114. Did anything surprise you on opening night Tuesday?
I mean, look, I think the Lakers Warriors score. I think Steph. Steph can still shoot. I think people are kind of showing you that he can still shoot from three. And
He
look,
said
like I said
that again,
before,
he played like trash.
well, yeah, I mean the true. Well, for by his standard, I think he'll say
Yeah.
it. But look, I think he had guys there that kind of pick aside Jordan Poole. I think some people say could be a sleeper. Maybe for most improved player. I think our buddy Mac Peck was the one who said that. One of our folks from our
Josh
panel,
Hicks said it.
Josh
Yeah.
said that. Josh said that. And also too, remember, Iggy is back there now. He kicked in
Mhm.
with 12. And also too, like on the flip side, Russell Westbrook struggles. He was 0 for 4 from 3, 4 for 13 for from the arc. So
Mhm.
like I said before, it's gonna take a while for this Lakers team to kind of mesh together. I mean, Westbrook is not used to being around, all these like all
Mhm.
stars. So, and we'll see. Will Carmelo have to come off the bench? Maybe he'll be a starter. Maybe Dwight Howard will be a starter. For Bazemore. So it's gonna take a while for Frightful to kind of like, okay, who can work together and who can kind of mesh better together. And look, it's going to take a while. I know they were winless through the preseason. I know Lakers fans were already freaking out about that. But yeah, I think they'll be fine. I think that let's not like freak out that, oh my God, well LeBron's gonna take his ball and like sit for like a month. Because I've seen people say that. So like no, let's slow down, folks. But yeah, I think the Warriors. Let's wait till Clay gets back. I mean, that's how he's gonna mesh with the Warriors and the way they're set up. So let's see. Let's not. I know they also won against the Clippers last night. We'll get to that in a second. But
Mhm.
let's slow down, folks.
Yeah, I remember hearing about Jordan Poole a little bit last season, but shout out to our guy Josh Hicks from War Media. He was on our previous show this past Monday. If you missed it, just go back on YouTube, subscribe to Sports Zone Chicago. Just type in Second City Sports to ND City Sports, and then there's our last episode featuring our NBA Roundtable special. Jordan Poole did look great on Tuesday, Lakeena. And like you said, Steph, as he said after the game to Ellie LaForce, to his standards, he played like trash. But if Steph is going to play like that and the Warriors are winning, you in a good place and you dealing with first world problems. But I just kept thinking, when Klay Thompson gets back, hopefully around Christmas or so, and if the Warriors are slightly above 500, this team can be dangerous. I'm not saying playing another championship parade down the San Francisco Gate Bridge, but this team can be competitive. Draymond Green, he looks better. He he has a few gray hairs in his beard, but he looks to be in shape. Of course, he's coming off the Olympics from this past summer with another gold medal. And Steve Kerr, they have a different type of roster. Andrew Wiggins is finally filling in his role. He had a couple of big baskets in the game on Tuesday. So this Warriors team, when they get it together, especially when Klay Thompson gets back, they could cause a problem. I'm not the biggest Warriors fan, but I respect them. So I'm really keeping my eyes on them this year a little bit more than I did a year ago.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see how, like I said, once it'll be how scarier will they be once Klay does come back around. I think it's right around Christmas or right before Christmas. He's supposed to come back, so we'll see. Now let's talk about like some of these Wednesday games. We're not gonna go through all of them, but let's go through some of the standouts. Of course, the Chicago, of course, the Detroit game. Minnesota looked really good. I think Karl-Anthony Towns might be playing to perhaps maybe play somewhere else.
I wish it was Chicago, but I don't think it's going to happen. But that's just me.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I wish I would love for him to come here, but I think they have to move a lot of stuff in order to make that happen. But he had 30 points in the win against Houston. We'll see. I mean, I'm sure people are going to be by first service. Philly. I mean, we won't get into the whole thing with Philly. We don't have time, and plus, it's too much to unpack.
Well, we said this during the summer. We'll say it one more again, as the kids will say. Ben Simmons has to grow up, play nice. Philadelphia management, even though they mishandled this too, do not cave into his demands. Ben Simmons, be a professional, grow up, do your part, and then you'll get your wish. Mic drop.
Exactly. Yeah,
Continue.
exactly. Like a Christmas, like a Christmas thing, just be nice, and then you'll be okay. Don't disrespect one of the top most respected coaches in the league, and Doc Rivers. Don't do that. So
there you go.
Look, they had a great showing against the Pelicans. Korkmaz, I should say, had like 22 off the bench. And Embiid, I know he's over the Ben Simmons drop, but he had 22 and 6 rebounds. So they looked really good. How about
shout out to Kate Scott? She's a new TV voice for the Philadelphia 76ers. I did watch the majority of that game via my computer. She did a great job. It's her and Ala Abdul-Nabi for NBC Sports Philadelphia. Yeah.
Also, too, were you surprised that Sacramento were able to edge out Portland?
I did watch some of that game at the end. I caught some of that. I came home from my 9 to 5. Harrison Barnes turned back the clock from his 2015-16 Golden State Warriors days. He had a couple of big buckets down the stretch. Damian Lillard, the first time in a long time that he went scoreless from the 3-point arc. CJ McCollum, he tried his best, but if Portland can't come up with victories here to start off the year, and new head coach Chauncey Billups, the Portland can't not get it going here. You think Damian Lillard's going to ask for a trade request again, even though he's denied it?
Well, I mean, I know he's not. I'm
not saying he should yet because it's just only one game into the year. But if we are sitting here by the end of November and they're not around 500, it could be trouble in paradise. Could it be?
Well, I don't think he's going to go like the Ben Simmons route about,
no.
Want to go. Like, he's not going to do that. But yeah, I think I'm sure. Look, that those rumors are going to kind of pop up again. I think I really feel that the rumors are going to pop up again. But again, we'll see. Thursday's games. Were you surprised the way I thought about our buddy Alana Tech, because she's a big Heat fan. The way that he just destroyed the Bucs, and Tyler Hero had 27 off the bench. That's one of her guys. So. Yeah, 137-95 last night. Yeah, that was just a crazy score. Like, were you surprised by that?
In terms of the score, yes. In terms of the Heat winning, no, because let's be honest, Milwaukee, everything was in their favor for the home opener, the ring ceremony, and they got out to a flying start against a Kyrie Irving-less Brooklyn Nets team. So, you know that Milwaukee left it all on the floor on Tuesday. So them losing by this much, if you're a Bucks fan, you shouldn't be too down on them. Like I said, all the energy, all the emotion was left on the floor on Tuesday. South Beach, maybe I'm not suggesting they did anything crazy off the court. It is the state of Florida, but I won't worry too much if you're a Bucks fan. I know the Miami Heat has owned them in the regular season over the last couple of years. Of course, the Bucks beat the Heat last year in the playoffs 4-0 when it mattered most. But if you're a Bucks fan, I'm not worried about it too much. And shout out to Lisa Byington. She made her debut last night for Valley Sports Wisconsin.
Yeah, she did a great job. I know she's going to do well there. Bucks fans will love her. The Hawks just hammering Dallas. I mean, I think some people were wondering, including myself, that Atlanta kind of benefited from some of the others that happened with the other teams. Cam Reddish had 20 off the bench for them. Trae Young, I mean, not his best game. He was only 2 for 5 for 3, but they did enough to win that game. Now, look, Atlanta's kind of a question mark for me because I want them to show me that this is that you guys are for real, that you didn't benefit from some of the others that happened last year.
Yeah, as we said before, coming into the season, after the top 3 teams with Milwaukee, Brooklyn, Milwaukee and Brooklyn. There's going to be a logjam between 3 and 8, and Atlanta's one of those teams, along with Chicago, the Knicks, and Indiana. So, Atlanta, I'm with you, Lakeena. I said this all summer. I think they are a playoff team, but are they really a player or two away from the NBA Finals? In my personal opinion, no. But going back to the stat line for Trae Young, even though he did shoot the ball poorly, we saw this last year, including the playoffs. His court vision has gotten a lot better. And he piled up 14 assists last night. Yeah,
and maybe that's a good thing. He probably won't have to depend on him scoring so much. He can kind of set guys up. He helps set up Reddish for some of those big shots he hit. He was 3 for 4 from 3. I think a couple of those threes were a Trae Young assist. So Atlanta will definitely be a team to watch. So we got to take a really quick break. And I know we're getting some clock discipline. I know we got to do that. Yeah. But we're going to talk about the LCS. Both games, and could there be deja vu for one of the LCS series? We'll talk about that. Also, some great college football matchups coming up this weekend too. With Cindy Brown, I'm Lakeena McGee. This is Second City Sports on Sports Zone Chicago, and we'll see you in a bit.
AutomotiveMap.com presents the Sports Flash on the Sports Zone Chicago. In Sunday's Major League Baseball action, the Cubs got pounded 9-1 at home against Kansas City. The White Sox shut out on the road 9-0 at Tampa. NFL preseason on Saturday, the Bills hammered the Bears 41-15. Andy Dalton, 11 of 17, passing 146 yards, a touchdown, and an interception. Justin Fields, 9 of 19 for 80 yards. Head coach Matt Nagy says Dalton remains the Week 1 starter and that Fields is ahead of schedule.
When you look at a guy like Justin and you see the things that he's doing, are there some things that he can get better at? Yeah, for sure. That's going to be, we're going to say that 3 years from now. But at the same point in time, for him, there's also things that he's doing better probably than we thought coming into this, which is good too. Like, that's what we want. We want that to happen.
Download the free Score app. Lightning fast updates so you never miss a thing. It's why the Score app is one of North America's most popular sports apps. I'm Chuck Sanders. That's the Sports Flash on the Sports Zone Chicago.
Blue Star medicated ointment works fast to relieve the pain and itch of almost any skin irritation.
It's amazing. It's like as soon as you put it on, you can feel it working. We've had Blue Star in the family for years. It works on everything.
I love the cooling sensation on my athlete's foot.
What a relief for my eczema.
Nothing worked on my dry, cracked skin until I tried Blue Star.
Blue Star is great for scalp itch.
Look for the white box with the Blue Star in the first aid section. Feel Blue Star work fast, or your money back.
Want to hear something amazing? Discover matches all the cash back you earn on your credit card at the end of your first year, automatically, dollar for dollar, with no limit on how much you can earn. Extra cash? Come on, how amazing is that? In fact, it's even more amazing when you realize all the places where Discover is accepted. 99% of places in the U.S. that take credit cards. So when it comes to Discover, get used to hearing yes more often. Learn more at discover.com/yes. 2021 Nielsen Report. Limitations apply.
Welcome back to Second City Sports on the hashtag Football Friday. We're live and in living color right here on Sports Zone Chicago. Sid, Lakeena here with you. Lakeena, just real quick to wrap up on the NBA talk before we move on to baseball. I know you wanted to mention something about last night's Clippers Warriors game. Of course, the Warriors are now 2-0 after a 115-113 win over the Clippers. It was their opening game of the season last night as the Warriors played in their home opener at Chase Center. Did you check out Steph Curry's 2 long 3-point bombs? Did you pay close attention to what happened after that first 3-pointer with I believe it was like a minute 45 left? Did you pay attention to what happened after that?
I did not look at it. I was prepping, but I did not see it. What do you do?
Did you see Reggie Miller standing up? He called the game with Kevin Harlan last night. He stood up for the next possession. I believe Paul George made a shot. Then Steph Curry did it again. And Reggie was like, oh, my God. And then he sat back down. But it was an entertaining game last night. The Clippers had a chance to tie the game. They were down by 3. Zubac hit the first free throw, missed the second, but the Clippers couldn't grab the rebound to have an opportunity to tie the game. But as we said on Monday, Lakeena, I think it's going to be an exciting season for the NBA as it celebrates its 75th anniversary. I'm sure we'll have it probably do it later in this show, if not on our next show. The 75th anniversary team, the league had 3 straight days of revealing its all anniversary team. But it was a very exciting game to watch between the Clippers and the Warriors last night. It was the second game of the TNT doubleheader. And the Warriors, as we said before, when Klay Thompson gets back, the Warriors should be exciting. So right now, let's move over to baseball as Game 6 of the American League Championship Series will take place tonight from Houston. That's at 7 o'clock, I believe, on FS1 between the Houston Astros and the Boston Red Sox. The Astros lead that best-of-7 series 3-2. Lakeena, I said Boston is going to win this in 7. I'm going to stick by it. Nathan Eovaldi will get the bump for the Red Sox. He's been on fire throughout these playoffs, but in the ALCS, call me crazy, but not so much. And Chris Sale gave you everything he had the other day, but he got shelled too. But it's Nathan Eovaldi taking the bump for Boston tonight. Do you obviously if you're Alex Cora, you treat this like your Game 7 because if you lose, you're going home. But if Nathan Eovaldi gets to any trouble, do you just pull him right away, or do you give him a chance to figure it out?
Yeah, well, who do you use though if he does not have a very good early start? I mean, he's your ace, so you have to try to you have to treat it like a Game 7, and hopefully tomorrow they can, if they win it, maybe they could be able to use him as a in a relieving situation. But again, I know Luis Garcia has had his struggles. He can kind of up and down, but you wonder can he play the pitch like the guy that we saw earlier in the year. So it'll be interesting to see if it also too. I think the key, if you're the Astros, especially since you have them at home, try to jump on Eovaldi early. If you can get him on him early, if you get Altuve, get a Correa, get those guys on base early, then maybe you can try and be able to kind of put the Red Sox away, because you can't let the Red Sox hang around. You can't let JD Martinez get on base. You can't let Rafael Devers get on there too. So you have to
Kyle Schwarber too.
Exactly. You have to try to get them out early, get the outs early, and then you'll be fine. If not, you might be slugging it out. We'll see. But it should be a fun Game 6. I know that Red Sox will put up a fight, and that the Astros are going to want to clinch tonight. They don't want to have to depend on the Game 7. So we'll see. It should be a fun one.
Yeah, should the Red Sox win it tonight, like you said, the Game 7 will be tomorrow. And I think Lance McCullers, their star pitcher from the last series against the White Sox, I think that will be a factor going into Game 7, because whoever's just starting, I forgot who's starting tonight for Houston, but whoever's starting for Houston, they will not be used tomorrow. So everybody's going to go for Game 7, and it's going to mess with you psychologically. So like you said, Lakeena, Houston better get it tonight, because you don't want to face that dangerous offense in Boston Boston will be on the road for a Game 7 as well. But if you're Houston, you better wrap it up tonight. I know your offense showed up in the last 2 games at Fenway. As I told you, Lakeena, we said all season, Boston's bullpen, even though they started off good in the playoffs, especially in that series against Tampa, the last 2 games at Fenway, they have been exposed big time, and that's why Houston has this 3-2 lead.
Yeah, also Luis Garcia, like I said, is pitching for the Astros. So he'll have and it'll be interesting to see, like I said before, get those outs early. Don't give them any leeway. Don't give the the Red Sox are even a chance. If we get the Luis Garcia, then we can. That I'm sure Astros fans, expect. I think they'll be able to, but if not, we're going to be going to a game 7. So if you're the Astros, you better hope that's same thing.
Yeah, if you Boston used the game plan that you did last Saturday afternoon in game 2, you jumped all over Houston early and you cruised to a victory. So hopefully that same scenario will play out for them tonight. So as we mentioned, the ALCS game 6, Houston leads their best of 7 series, 3-2. Game 6 is tonight at 7 p.m. Central Standard Time on FS1. Lakeena, tomorrow will be game 6 of the National League Championship Series back at Truist Field in Atlanta's. In the suburbs of Atlanta. The Atlanta Braves hosted the defending World Series champion Los Angeles Dodgers. The Atlanta Braves lead that best of 7 series 3-2. Of course, last year in the bubble, Lakeena, Atlanta had a 3-1 series lead. They blew it. The Dodgers went on to beat the Braves in that series and went on to beat the Tampa Bay Devil Rays in the World Series. It's the same scenario unfolding again, or will Atlanta use their home field advantage to close out the Dodgers?
And that's probably the difference, is that they have them at home. Remember last year they had to do it in a bubble.
Mm-hmm.
Now, look, again, like I said before, if we could get the Chris Taylor and AJ Pollock now, let me see who's pitching for them tomorrow. Now that's to me, I think that's going to be the key. Like if you're, Dave Ross been doing like this little committee kind of thing. Joe Kelly started last night for the Dodgers, so it's going to be very interesting to see like I said before, this is going to be kind of one of those series where like, is it going to be deja vu all over again for the Braves? And look, they got the early start at 4:00 on tomorrow, so you got to think that's going to be interesting. Max Scherzer, this is why you picked him up. So if you're, you hope you want the Scherzer that we expected to get, the one that actually helped pitch the Nationals to the World Series a few years ago. Ian Anderson will pitch for the Braves, and I think that's going to be, if you're the Dodgers, you want to try to get at him early, and if you're the Braves, you want to get at Scherzer early. So it's really going to depend on which pitch can kind of like tame the offense, before everything else, because fall into place. Now, if you're the Dodgers, now you gotta go through this all over again. Have to win 3 in a row. You won last night thanks to Chris Taylor. 3 home runs. He's the first, had 3-run home run, when facing elimination. He's the first player to do that. He's just a 12th player to have a 3 home run game all time in postseason history, and it's the second Dodger to do it. So that it's going to be interesting to see. Look, like I said before, it's going to depend on how the pitching and the timely hitting. I think if you're the Dodgers, you want to try to get at Ian Anderson right away, because he sometimes had his struggles. So we'll see.
And also, too, who's going to play third base for the Los Angeles Dodgers now with the injury to Justin Turner, my guy with the facial hair? Of course, he's done for the postseason with a bad hamstring injury. Of course, the Dodgers, they won over 100 games for the season, and they've been doing it all year long with guys coming in and out of the lineup. And how much do they have left? I know the season's on the line is about Dodger pride and championship pride, but how much do they have left? As you mentioned, Lakeena, Max Scherzer should set the tone tomorrow. He did that in Game 3, and of course the offense didn't come through during that San Francisco series. But could the same scenario happen again? I just wonder for this Dodgers team, how much do they have left now with Justin Turner being out?
Yeah, that's going to be another thing. Who can step up? That's going to be sort of like that's going to be the thing. They've had guys that have gotten hurt, so it's going to be interesting. Like who can step up? Can like I said, this is going to be very interesting. That if I think it's going to go 7, I think the Dodgers have like too much talent for them not to, and I think this is sort of like by happenstance that the Braves actually got this far without Acuna. So that's going to be kind of like the thing here. And it looks to be just, look, if you're Scherzer, you want to try to tame the Braves, because they're going to want to be going it out. If you're the Dodgers, you want to try to see Ken Bellinger. Look, Albert Pujols. We've heard his name a couple of times. Sure, he's going to want to do some, like have some heroics. Mookie Betts, can he step up? If you're the Braves, like I said, Ian Anderson, he's been really good, but then sometimes he's been, he hasn't been not so good. So if you're the Braves, you're hoping to get the good Ian Henderson. So this is going to be one of those days where it's definitely going to be a toss on who wins Game 6.
Yeah, as you said in the last series with Boston and Houston, if you're Atlanta, you better get Game 6 or else, because if you go to the Game 7, all the questions are going to come up from what happened a year ago in the bubble. even though you have Game 7 in your backyard, the Dodgers are more incapable of taking both games on the road. As we said before, they've been in this scenario with this core group for many, many years, win, lose, or draw. And so the Atlanta Braves better bring it tomorrow night, because if they don't, especially against Scherzer, if you're not aggressive with them, especially early, it is going to be trouble for the home team. So once again, the Atlanta Braves lead the best of 7 series, 3-2 in the National League Championship Series. Against the Los Angeles Dodgers, the defending champion Los Angeles Dodgers. Tomorrow's game will be at 4 o'clock Central Standard Time. You can watch that game on TBS. You're listening to Second City Sports on the hashtag Football Friday right here on Sports Zone Chicago, along with Miss Lakeena McGee. I am Sydney Brown. As we transition over to college football, Lakeena will she will reconnect with us in just a moment, but I want to go over a few scores for you from last night from the world of college football. It was 21 SMU over Tulane, 55-26. And another score of note, San Jose defeated UNLV 27-20. Now, we're going to go over some of the key games for college football tomorrow. If you have any questions or comments during today's show, you can place them in the comment section on our Facebook page at Sports Zone Chicago, or on our YouTube page at Sports Zone Chicago. Sports Zone Chicago on Facebook or Sports Zone Chicago on YouTube. Place your comments in the comment section when Lakeena rejoins us, hopefully in a few minutes. Lakeena is going to place those comments up on the screen for you. Let's go over a couple of games for you in the world of college football of note tomorrow. Starting at 11 o'clock on ESPN2, 11 a.m. Central Standard Time, is the number 2 team in the nation, the Cincinnati Bearcats. They'll travel to Navy. They're at 1-5. Cincinnati checks in at 6-0. Number 3, Oklahoma. The Sooners are checking in at 7-0. They'll face their Big 12 rival, the Kansas Jayhawks, tomorrow at 11 a.m. on ESPN. OU is a 38.5-point favorite. The big noon Saturday game on Fox tomorrow at 11 a.m. Chicago time is the Northwestern Wildcats checking in at 3-3. They'll go to the Big House to take on number 6 ranked Michigan Wolverines. They check in at 6-0. Michigan is a 23.5-point favorite. If you are Michigan's head coach Jim Harbaugh, you want to establish the run early, and you want to establish tempo on the defensive end early. Northwestern has been having problems with the quarterback position for years. Defensively, they're still good, but they have trouble scoring offensively. If you're Jim Harbaugh in Michigan, which I expect is going to happen, you jump on Northwestern early, because if you don't, with the Wildcats defense, they can hang around and perhaps make a couple plays late in the game. So watch out for Michigan's run game, especially in the Big House tomorrow. Also, staying locally in college football, in the Big Ten, Illinois will travel to Happy Valley to face the number 7 ranked Penn State Nittany Lions. Excuse me. Penn State is a 23.5-point favorite. Penn State's at 5-1. Illinois is at 2-5 on the season. As Lakeena rejoins us now.
Sorry about that.
Lakeena,
folks.
I gave a couple of notes for college football as I was going through the early part of the schedule. Let's focus in on the big news Saturday game between Northwestern and number 6 ranked Michigan State. I just mentioned a moment ago that it's going to come down to Michigan's running game. And Northwestern, they struggled offensively so far this year. Has been their problem throughout the recent years. They still have a strong defense, but a tough game on the road for this young Wildcat squad. If you're Michigan and Jim Harbaugh, you better step on the gas early.
Yeah, and the good news for Michigan is that they actually are coming off a bye. So I think this will definitely help. And I'm sure, look, they've got some tough games coming up. So I'm sure Coach Harbaugh is going to tell his guys, look, don't look past this game. Don't look past this game, then you'll be fine.
I think they have Michigan State next week, correct?
Yes, they do. So
yeah, so you just took the words right out of my mouth.
Yeah, so I think if you're Michigan, you don't want to look past Northwestern. I know Northwestern isn't the Northwestern from last year, but look, I'm sure he'll have Pat Fitzgerald will have his guys ready. Also, couple quick shout out from the earlier games from earlier this week. Appalachian State got their win against a ranked team for the first time since that Michigan team from 2007. So they beat Coastal Carolina, ending their hopes of perhaps going to an undefeated season. Also, too, SMU still undefeated, so they look pretty good too. So that's sort of like a team to kind of look out for. They're number 21. They beat Tulane last night. Okay, Cincinnati and Navy. That'll be on ESPN2. You
Yeah.
know, Cincy really. Look, you always when you go into one of the service academies, you always want to look out for. There's a lot of emotions. So, but I'm sure Lou Fickle and his guys will be ready for that game. If they Illinois has a chance against Penn State after Brett Bielema's comments earlier this week.
Do they? I think the question is, and I read the before you rejoined us, I read the over and under
over on
not the transcript, but the point spread. I believe it's 23.5.
You might take the over on that one, folks. I'm just saying. Right? I mean, like, oh,
yeah, we'll leave that alone.
We'll leave that alone. Yeah. I mean, the Illinois. I mean, my goodness. I mean, basically, like, you know, throwing Lovey under the bus. Basically, Brett Bielema did. So go back and look through those comments.
I know that college kids, you're supposed to be. I know there's a such thing as constructive criticism. That's one thing because they're adults, but they're young adults trying to find themselves and establishing an identity. But to throw Lovey Smith and the rest of those kids under the bus like that, really,
yeah. Especially like, yeah, I'm sure that practice had to have been fun, right? That was like really right before their practice, so like I'm sure that had to have been a lot of fun. I'm sure that was a lot of fun.
But we'll see how those young men respond on the national stage in a tough game on the road. Staying locally, once again in college football, Northern Illinois, the Huskies are now 5-2. They'll face Central Michigan on the road. They check in at 4-3. That's at 11 o'clock tomorrow on ESPNU.
Getting a little love there for the Huskies.
Yeah.
So we'll see. We'll see. I mean, they're doing better than a lot of folks expected. A lot of people thought this was going to be the rebuilding here. So we'll see. Purdue breaking the top 25 for the first time since 07, believe it or not. And they face Wisconsin. Look, this could be, these two always battle it out. So this should be a good one. That's a 2:00 game on the Big Ten Network.
Yeah, this is going to come down to defense and running the football. I think Wisconsin, they are 3.5-point favorite. I'm taking Wisconsin.
Yeah, should be interesting. I'm sure Purdue wants to prove to folks that Iowa game was not a fluke. So, we'll see. Oklahoma State and Iowa State. I mean, this should be a lot of fun down in Ames because
offense, yay!
Well, look, both defenses are actually pretty good. So, look, I mean, it's gonna be the first Oklahoma State's first true test. So let's see how they do. I mean, the quarterbacks are really. Both the QBs are really good. Spencer Sanders and Brock Purdy. He's a veteran, so you got to give him a little bit of the edge there. You got Bryce Hall and a guy that's some people feel that should be in front of the Heisman chase, Jalen Warren. So this should be a lot of fun in Ames. So getting a little love on Fox.
Yeah. Speaking of two teams getting some love, West Coast football, as you love your West Coast college football. 2:30 p.m. tomorrow on ABC, the feature afternoon game. The number 10 Oregon Ducks checking in at 5-1. They'll visit UCLA. Chip Kelly's Bruins checking in at 5-2. This should be a good one.
This should be a lot of fun, and game day is going to be there tomorrow. So in the morning, so that should be an early riser for the folks over there in Los Angeles. Right. This is definitely going to be an elimination for like whoever wins the Pac-12 in their respective division. So this is definitely an elimination game.
And also at 2:30 on CBS, the SEC game of the week, the number 12 ranked Ole Miss. They'll host the final days of Ed Orgeron's LSU Tigers coaching realm. They check in at 4-3. America needs football, boy.
Ole Miss is look, I'm sure you'll get your popcorn ready, as Lane Kiffin would say. So we'll see what the mindset of the Tigers are with all this stuff that's happening with Coach Orgeron and all of the things that transpired before that. So that should be fun. Another fun one here in the ACC at the same time on ESPN. You got Clemson and Pittsburgh. Might have the tides have turned. Pittsburgh's now ranked in the top 25.
Call me crazy. I didn't know they sell the football team, especially following the administration that they wants it. I'm just saying.
I think he's joking, folks. At least I hope he is. They got Kenny Pickett. He's actually finally breaking all of Dan Marino's records. It took like over 40 years to do it. But yeah,
I know it was a bad joke.
that did not land well. Sid, I'm sorry, my friend. But yeah, look, it should be a fun one. We'll see how the defense does. I mean, Clemson's having a down year, unfortunately. So we'll see how they do. I'm sure the folks at Heinz Field are going to be rocking. They're going to be ready for this game, and it should be a fun one there. It should be interesting.
Also another fun game that should folks should pay attention to. Another good one in the Big Ten, both 4-2 teams. Maryland, the Terrapins will go to the Twin. I'm not gonna say the Twin Cities, but the great state of Minnesota to face the Golden Gophers. That's at 2:30 p.m. on ESPN2. The Golden Gophers are favored by 4.5 points.
Really? So yeah, that should be interesting. I mean, I think these two teams, I think they expect a little bit more from their teams. They're both they're both like right there. So I think they're, it's gonna be definitely gonna be an evenly matched game. Both are 4-2, like you said. So this should be a lot of fun. I mean, I'm sure both Mike Locksley and PJ Fleck will have their guys ready for this game. Should be a fun one. Going into the prime time games, Tennessee and Alabama. Do you think Tennessee has a chance?
Alabama's favored by 25.5. No.
Okay. All right.
Moving on.
All right. Okay. I'll take the over. I guess. A couple of ranked teams in the West Coast. But these are not. These are Mountain West. Actually, a couple of San Diego State and Air Force. That should be a fun one down there at the Academy again. Like I said a few minutes ago. I'm sure they'll be ready. And San Diego State had to grind out against San Jose State last week. I actually saw a little bit of that game. That game was a long game, but that should be a fun one. Keeping their undefeated streak alive. Also, too, beat the Roadrunners of UT San Antonio going up against a pretty good. A pretty good Louisiana Tech team. They're 2-4, but they're a very gritty team. So the first time in their history in that program that they're ranked in the top 25, Texas San Antonio. So if you guys get a chance, check that out.
The ABC primetime game at 6:30 p.m. tomorrow will be the number 5 ranked Ohio State Buckeyes in Big Ten action going to Bloomington to take on the Indiana Hoosiers. Ohio State 5-1, Indiana 2-4. I think Indiana, this is their second time on primetime this year.
Yep, they played Penn State a few weeks back. Yep.
Keep them off of prime time. I'm just saying. I know they're not the same team as they were a year ago, but I think Ohio State has something in for them.
Like I said, you don't want to get caught looking ahead of your Ohio State. Two old rivals battling out in prime time on NBC. USC against Notre Dame, both coming off byes. Look, I know how I feel about Notre Dame, but we'll see how SC does. This is a rivalry game. You always throw the records out when these two teams play each other. I think they'll keep it close, but I think Notre Dame will pull away, as much as it pains me to say it. But
yeah, Notre Dame's favored by a touchdown in South Bend. I think that line is about right.
Yeah, that is. South Carolina, Texas A&M.
Texas A&M favored by 19.5. I agree with that. Texas A&M should win. NC State, ranked number 18th in the country, they take on the University of Miami Hurricanes. Disappointing season, no quarterback. We'll move on from that.
Yeah, I think that their top rusher, he's out for the year as well. So
there you go.
Tough show for Miami. New Mexico State and Hawaii. If you guys want to stay up late, watch that one. Utah and Oregon State. I mean, if you got the Pac-12 network, make sure to check that out. I mean, both teams are 4-2. This should be a good one for the Pac-12. This could definitely be the key to the standings in the Pac-12 in both their divisions. So this should be a fun one there down in Corvallis.
Yep. I know Oregon State is surprisingly having a good year. Utah is getting it together. So like you said, this should be a fun one. Utah is favored by 3 points. And that is your Week 8 preview from the world of college football. You listen to Hashtag Football Friday right here on Second City Sports Live and in living color right here on Sports Zone Chicago. Sid Lakeena here with you. Hour number 1 in the books. Hour number 2 straight ahead. When we return, we'll give you our Week 7 NFL preview of the Chicago Bears and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Will the Bears have a chance to upset the Buccaneers? Or will Tampa Bay tread lightly and tease the Bears and let them hang around before they put both their feet to the ground and stomp all over them? And plus, we'll have our good friend Christine Manika pick with us all the games from Week 7 in the National Football League, and plus a whole lot more. You're listening to Sports Zone Chicago.
AutomotiveMap.com presents the Sports Flash on the Sports Zone Chicago. In Sunday's Major League Baseball action, the Cubs got pounded 9-1 at home against Kansas City. The White Sox shut out on the road 9-0 at Tampa. NFL preseason on Saturday, the Bills hammered the Bears 41-15. Andy Dalton, 11 of 17, passing 146 yards, a touchdown, and an interception. Justin Fields, 9 of 19 for 80 yards. Head coach Matt Nagy says Dalton remains the Week 1 starter and that Fields is ahead of schedule.
When you look at a guy like Justin and you see the things that he's doing, are there some things that he can get better at? Yeah, for sure. That's going to be, we're going to say that 3 years from now. But at the same point in time, for him, there's also things that he's doing better probably than we thought coming into this, which is good too. Like, that's what we want. We want that to happen.
Download the free Score app. Lightning fast updates so you never miss a thing. It's why the Score app is one of North America's most popular sports apps. I'm Chuck Sanders. That's the Sports Flash on the Sports Zone Chicago.
Blue Star medicated ointment works fast to relieve the pain and itch of almost any skin irritation.
It's amazing. It's like as soon as you put it on, you can feel it working. We've had Blue Star in the family for years. It works on everything.
I love the cooling sensation on my athlete's foot.
What a relief for my eczema.
Nothing worked on my dry, cracked skin until I tried Blue Star.
Blue Star is great for scalp itch.
Look for the white box with the Blue Star in the first aid section. Feel Blue Star work fast, or your money back.
Want to hear something amazing? Discover matches all the cash back you earn on your credit card at the end of your first year, automatically, dollar for dollar, with no limit on how much you can earn. Extra cash? Come on, how amazing is that? In fact, it's even more amazing when you realize all the places where Discover is accepted. 99% of places in the U.S. that take credit cards. So when it comes to Discover, get used to hearing yes more often. Learn more at discover.com/yes. 2021 Nielsen Report. Limitations apply.
Welcome back to hour number 2 of Hashtag Football Friday, baby, right here on Second City Sports on Sports Zone Chicago. Along with Lakeena McGee, I am Sidney Brown. We are live and in living color. You can follow yours truly on the Twitter and the IG at SidKid80. Once again, that's SidKid80. That's SIDKID80. SIDKID80.
You can follow me at Keenan McGee on the Twitter and at Keenan_McGee on the IG.
This is our NFL Power Hour. If you want to place your comments or questions in the comment section, you could do so by going to Sports Zone Chicago's Facebook page or Sports Zone Chicago on YouTube. Place your questions or comments in the comment section. Lakeena will get them up on the screen for you. We'll answer them and address your issues as best we can. But if you decide to troll and or do something stupid, Lakeena will politely give you the Tom Brady boot. And speaking of giving people the boot, Lakeena, let's start our NFL Power Hour with our Week 7 NFL preview, which features our Chicago Bears traveling to Tampa to face the defending world champion Buccaneers. This will be the featured game as part of a CBS Sunday doubleheader at 3:25 p.m. Jim Nantz, Tony Romo, and Tracy Wilson will be on the call. Lakeena, let's start with on the field. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers, they defeated the Miami Dolphins 45-17 their last game 10 days ago. They're coming off well rested. The Bears, they're losers of their last 2 games. Their last game was against the Green Bay Packers at home last week on the Lakefront, and they lost that one 24-14. Lakeena, before we dive deeper into this matchup, do you have an update on the injury report from both teams? Because the things that were shaping up over the last couple of hours.
Yeah, of course, Robert Quinn looks like, he may not be able to play because he apparently tested positive for COVID, so he may not be able to play. I'm looking to see, our buddy Mark Grody. Also, too, Ian Rappaport tweeted about it a little over an hour ago that Gronk, we already knew he was out anyway because of the ribs. Antonio Brown, Levante David, and Richard Sherman, with a hamstring injury. They're not going to be able to play, but also the Bears have some other issues themselves. They got Akeem Hicks. He didn't practice yesterday. Khalil Mack didn't practice. A-Rob was limited, yesterday. So, that's going to be like, look, I think it's going to be very interesting because I think next to the Bucs game, the Bucs Patriots game, Tom Brady has his game circled after what happened last year. And
4-3-4.
Oh, is it 3? Is it 4? Like, look, I remember too. People need to remember that it was a different situation with for the Bucs last year. They were coming off a short week. They played on Monday night. And also too, they had to go on the road. They were banged up. Yeah, they're still a little bit banged up, but they've had 10 days off. And if if you read Brady's comments, he's like I said, he's had this game circled. He wants to show people, and it was actually right after the Bears game that after that loss that they went on there. That's when they went on their run. So that kind of this game actually sort of helped divide their season. So it's going to be very interesting to see. Look, I know that they've had their struggles on offense. The Bucs have, but again, which offense do you trust? Do you trust Tom Brady or do you trust Justin Fields? No shade to him, to Justin, of course, but he'll have his time. But right now, I'm going with the GOAT.
Yeah, on paper, you'll have to go with the Buccaneers because of all the weapons that they have, and they're deeper in terms of the roster and the talent, unlike the Chicago Bears. And speaking of the numbers, Lakeena, let's take a look at them from both teams. On offense, the Bears are ranked third from the bottom in the National Football League in total offense, while the Buccaneers are ranked number 4. In total defense, the Bears are 8th in the league, while the Buccaneers check in at number 10. As far as passing, the Bears are dead last, and the Buccaneers are ranked first. In rushing, the Buccaneers are at number 27, while the Bears are at number 7. Lakeena, the same game plan is going to have to come through Chicago once again, running the football. I believe Damian Williams will still be out for this game, so it'll be on 6th-round pick rookie Khalil Herbert, who's going to be the running back if he can't get it going, or he has to have a breather. That's my only concern for Chicago. And number 2, Justin Fields, especially with Levante David being out. Do you think that Cole Kmet will be used a little bit more? And can we throw the ball to Jimmy Graham, please? He was MIA last week. Cole Kmet had a couple of catches I was happy with, but can we get both tight ends more into the game plan, especially with Levante David being out? I'm just asking. I'm going by common sense.
Well, like I said before, I mean, looks like maybe JPP might be back for the Bucs. You still got Ndamukong Suh, you still got Vita Vila, you still got Devin White, and look, Antonio Winfield Jr. I mean, he's not he's not exactly no pushover. So I think people need to kind of give him a little bit of his due. And Jordan Whitehead, I should say. And look, I'm certain that Brady wants to kind of just blow the doors off. They may depend on Leonard Fournette to run the ball, especially now it looks like Quinn's not gonna be able to play. They may use the run game more. Maybe we may see Mike Evans more, or Chris Godwin, I should say. So there's going to be a lot, and look, penalties and stuff like that. I think Brady wants to kind of show people that he wants to be next to that Patriots game. Like I said, he's wanted to circle this game once the schedule came out. So he wants to kind of show people that, the Bears, I don't want to say the Bears got lucky last year, but there was the parameters are a lot different now.
And speaking of the Buccaneers offense, let's take a clear focus on them. Of course, Antonio Brown, as you mentioned, he's not going to play. He's been on fire the last couple of weeks. It falls on the shoulders of Mike Evans. Now, we assume that Jalen Johnson, the Bears' top corner, is going to shadow him for the majority of the game. I want to see the game plan from the Chicago's defensive coordinator, Sean Desai. How much will you double team Mike Evans? And number 2, how much will you blitz Tom Brady? Unlike Aaron Rodgers, who's a couple years younger than Brady, Rodgers can still scramble. We saw that in the game-clutching touchdown last week in Chicago. We know Brady's not a scrambler, but you cannot fool a defense that he hasn't seen. He will stand back there and pick you apart. Now, here's the thing. How many times will you blitz Brady, and can you get home to him early like you did last year here in Chicago? Those are the 2 things I'm looking at through the defensive lens of the Chicago Bears.
Well, yeah, like I said before, and then you said it too, Sid. I mean, without Quinn, who's going to be the onus on that person to kind of to try to kind of pick up the slack for him? He actually was playing pretty well. I know we ragged on him last year, but it seems like he with a little more passion, a little more confidence. But look, Hicks is still, you don't know how Hicks is going to be with the injury. A-Rob's questionable. Darnell Mooney's also questionable. So you wonder, will all that play a part as well? Bilal Nichols is now on the injury report too. He's questionable. So it's look, look, it's gonna be one of those things. I know Eddie Jackson feels like he's been, people, like ragging on him, but you deserve it, dude. I mean, look, I'm sure he's gonna be going up against Mike Evans. I'm sure he and Gibson, if he's able to play, he's questionable. So look, the onus is gonna be on a lot of these guys to kind of like sort of, look, do I think the Bucs, do I think the Bucs will keep it close? I think they can for maybe like a couple, maybe a quarter and a half, maybe the first half, but I'm not, would it surprise me if it ends up being a blowout? Not really. I mean, have you seen this in the last couple of weeks? They're back to being exactly what they are and what they've always been, a mediocre team at best. So yeah, they've got some flashes, and this and that. And look, I'm sure, Khalil Herbert, hopefully he'll be able to play. It looks like, Williams will be out again due to COVID protocols. But I'm sure, look, you still got a pretty good pass rush. I mean, Vita Vea, who got hurt last year, I'm sure he's not going to be in a very good mood either. So, whoever has to, guard him, Cody Whitehair, James Daniels, good luck to you. Or Peters, Peters, sorry, folks. Good luck to you.
Going back to the Buccaneers offense, of course, Mike Evans is going to get the majority of the attention, but check out these three players to look out for. Chris Godwin, tight ends OJ Howard and Cameron Braid. I think Brady's going to use them just a little bit more than what people expect. And let's see, even though their rushing attack is not that great, it is ranked fifth from the bottom in the National Football League. If the running game gets going early, Tom Brady is going to use those weapons that I just mentioned, just a little bit more than what people expect, because Mike Evans is going to try to get his, but watch out for those two tight ends that I mentioned, plus Chris Godwin as well. We saw what he did last year. He got off to a little bit of a slow start this year, but he's been coming on over the last couple of weeks. So watch out for Cameron Braid, OJ Howard, and Chris Godwin.
And I think he's due for the game for a big game, the OJ, especially now with Gronk still out. And then you got to think one of those guys, either Howard or Bray, is they're due to kind of have a big game. I mean, who knows? It could be against the Bears. I mean, that's going to be like I know their secondary is sort of okay, but again, the Bears secondary is not really nothing to write home about either. So it's look, like I said, it's gonna be one of those games where it can only go one of two ways. Either it's gonna be a Bucs blowout, or it's gonna be close for maybe about a quarter and a half or something like that. And then the Bucs will pull away late because they're more talented.
Yeah. Now going back to the Bears defense, you mentioned that Robert Quinn is not going to play. He's on an injury report. I expected Alec Ogletree to have a good game, and also to help him out is Roquan Smith, which I believe he's the best player on this Bears defense. We talk about Khalil Mack and Hakeem Hicks, but Roquan Smith is, my opinion, the best young linebacker in the NFL. As we said before, he struggles at times in coverage, but when it comes to stopping the run and rushing the passer, there's no one better at his age in the National Football League. So he's going to be key too. But I'm really looking forward to Alec Ogletree really setting the tone, because he's one of those older veterans on this defense.
Well, we'll see. I mean, we haven't heard him much this
especially
year.
With the absence of Robert Quinn.
Well, we'll see. I mean, we haven't heard him much, so could he perhaps maybe he may have to pick up the slack for Quinn. We know he can do it, but again, I mean, like I said before, I mean, this game, like I said, I'm not, we just got a tweet from, our buddy Jason Leisure from the Sun Times. Of course, he does a great job covering the Bears. Hopefully, we get him back on soon.
Yep,
he was on
friend of the show.
Yes. Questionable. He said most all of them will play, especially Mac, A-Rob, and Hicks. But it looks like Bilal Nichols might not play. He didn't practice again today. So there you go. And look, I think you wonder, especially with Mac, I mean, these injuries, you got to wonder, will all that, he's over 30 now. So you wonder, is that going to, will that kind of come back to bite him in the butt, because you're not going to be able to practice much because you're not 100%. It looks like Trevathan, they're saying he didn't practice either, but it was for personal reasons, and his status for the game is up in the air. So again, you're dealing with a Bears defense that's pretty, I don't want to say, they're over 30, most of them. So that's going to be the thing where you're like, okay, can Brady kind of expose that? Will Leonard Fournette or Ronald Jones, the third, how can they have a big, are they both going to have big games against that Bears defense? The run defense is pretty good for the Bears, but again, Aaron Jones kind of showed you that, you can pick little spots here and there last week. So, and I think they're probably going to do the same these guys probably do the same for them on Sunday.
Yeah, if the Bears can stop the run, especially early, they do have a chance. But like you said, Lakeena, you just have this funny feeling that the Buccaneers don't have to have a outrageous game running the ball. It'll be great for them, but if they do, it's going to be a day for the Bears. As we said all season long, Lakeena, outside of Jalen Johnson, this Bears secondary is young and inexperienced. So if the Tampa Bay can establish any type of consistency with the running game early, that secondary is going to get exposed, and you're going to be yelling at more people than just Eddie Jackson. So the Bears do have their work cut out for them. And we'll give you our picks for the games along with the other games in our next segment right here on Second City Sports, on Sports Zone Chicago, on the hashtag Football Friday, along with Lakeena McGee. I am Sidney Brown. If you have any questions or comments regarding the Bears-Buccaneers game coming up this Sunday at 3:25 p.m. on CBS, you can drop your questions or comments in our comment section at Sports Zone Chicago on Facebook or Sports Zone Chicago on YouTube. Place them in the comment section. Lakeena will get them up on the screen and running for you. Lakeena, one more factor for this game before we move on. Jakeem Grant, I call him a wannabe Devin Hester Jr. He's been having some decent returns for Chicago ever since Ryan Pace picked him up, the former Miami Dolphin, a couple weeks ago off the scrap heap. Do you expect him to have a big return, or do you think it will just be like a blah type of performance?
Well, remember, he's banged up with an ankle injury, so he may not even play on Sunday. So it's kind of going to be a moot point if he can't play. So,
okay.
I mean, look, yeah, he's been okay for the Bears. Like, again, he's not, been, anything to write home about. Like I say, he just needed a guy to kind of run, kicks back. So he's actually served his purpose. But again, he may not play. He was questionable. So I'm running to see if there's any updates on him, but I didn't. So, it's like I said before, I mean, we'll get to our picks, but yeah, I mean, this I don't think this is going to end well for the Bears today on Sunday. I just don't think it's. I don't think it's going to. I don't think so.
So you're expecting Tony Romo to be pouring out the liquor for Justin Fields and throwing bouquets at Tom Brady once again?
I don't think he'll be. I don't think so. I think he'll. Look, I'm sure he'll be complimentary of Fields. I mean, look, he's a rookie. He knows he's a rookie. I think he knows that it's going to take him some time. But of course, he's going to throw his bouquets at Tom Brady. He always does. But yeah, look, I'm sure he'll give his due with Fields. I don't think he's going to be pouring the liquor for him unless they do something really stupid. Which could look. This is the Bears, so we know stupid things can happen.
Right.
He might be on. Look, we may hear first time we may hear him on the verge of swearing this year. So you never know. Like, what the hell are you doing? So. We haven't. He hasn't. Luckily, we haven't had to hear that much from some of the analysts. So they actually been a little more confident. But you never know. But yeah, like I said before, I think the Bears. I don't think the Bears are going to get totally blown now, but I think that it's not going to be a pretty score in the end. I just. All right. Anything else on this game we got, or do you want to move on to the
yeah? Let's move on to the rest of the slate in the National Football League for Week 7. As you're listening to Second City Sports on the hashtag Football Friday, we're live in living color right here on Sports Zone Chicago, along with Miss Lakeena McGee. I am Sidney Brown. Lakeena, as I mentioned before, we'll give you our picks coming up in our next segment. But a couple of games that jump out to me. Of course, let's focusing on the late game is the winless Detroit Lions visiting the Los Angeles Rams at 3:05 p.m. this Sunday at SoFi Stadium. Of course, it's Matt Stafford versus his former team, Jared Goff versus his former team. Now he's quarterback in the Detroit Lions. Sean McVay came out early this week and said, Stafford is better than I thought. No crap, Sherlock. This is what happens. We have better weapons. That's why you got him. I just had to say that. But,
it's just.
But for the Rams, hopefully this is not a trap game for them. I believe they're 16 point favorites the last time I checked. This could be a sneaky spot for the Lions. Could be. I'm not calling it an upset. Let me just say that right now. I'm not calling for an upset. Stranger things have happened, but I think the Lions could show up for a while in terms of the point spread. But that head coach Sean McVay is going to try and lay the hammer down on the Lions with Matthew Stafford. Stafford is his teeth is souring right now. He cannot wait till this Sunday's game.
Oh, he's when the schedule, same thing, with Brady, same thing with Stafford. When the schedule came out, I'm sure he's like rubbing his hands. Look, he says such nice things about the organization. So, there's no animosity there, but I think he knows that, hey, look, hey, he's actually pretty good with the weapons around him. So look, I don't think this is gonna look, I think the Rams, I'm sure Sean McVay will make sure that they don't look ahead. I'm sure Stafford will make sure that, look, Aaron Donald needs you to be, yourself, which I don't think that'll be a problem. But I think that this we can probably just skip this game when Christine comes on a little bit. But it's going to be, like I said before, it's going to be an emotional game. And if this was in Detroit, I mean, it's going to be a little bit more emotional. But since it's going to be in Los Angeles, I think Stafford, he'll have a little bit of emotion, but I don't think he's going to like.
How many Lions fans are going to be there?
There'll be Stafford fans. There'll be Matt Stafford fans, I'm sure, wearing his old Lions jersey. That's probably like the only thing I can think of. But
so you said about 50 of them.
yeah. I would think so. Let's see, another Chiefs and Texans. That's a noon game. This might be a pretty good game. I mean, I know the Titans are off a short week. It's going to be very interesting though for me about this game because. The Chiefs, they're starting to turn the corner, but the Titans are coming off that big win against the Bills. Damn you, Bills! I'll tell y'all why I'm like have a bone to pick with them in a little bit.
Yeah, but I know why.
I know you do. And this should be an interesting game though. I mean, short week. I know the defense for the Titans isn't really nothing much to write home about, but they made the big plays late against the Bills. Slowed them down just enough for them to win that game. The Chiefs, we'll see how they look. I mean, it's going to be guys are starting to get banged up a little bit. I think Travis Kelce's a little bit banged up. And, I'm a little, this is one of those toss-up games for me, but this is probably one of the better games in this slate.
You'll get to see that game here in Chicago on Channel 2 on CBS 2 Chicago if you're in the Chicagoland area. This could be an upset alert. So, like I said, we'll dive more into it when we give our picks in our next half hour. Another upset alert will be the Baltimore Ravens at 5-1. They're hosting the 4-2 Cincinnati Bengals. The Ravens are currently standing as touchdown and a half favorite, 6.5 to be exact. As we talked about Lakeena before the season started, Cincinnati could be one of those teams that could surprise some people. The Bengals on the dominant performance last week at Detroit, they did what they had to do against a lesser opponent. The Baltimore Ravens, they're riding a little bit high because they took care of the upcoming, as we call them, San Diego Chargers of Los Angeles on this show. They made Justin Herbert and the rest of that team look silly, beating them 34-6. Baltimore, they are good. I'm not saying they're the best team in the AFC, but Cincinnati, they're no joke. Their defense is surprisingly good. Joe Mixon is back in the starting role as far as running back for the Bengals. Joe Burrow is playing well. Phil Simms early this week called him the next Joe Montana. We'll wait and see on that. But I think Cincinnati, they have an opportunity to hang around this game.
Yeah, and also to remember Ronnie Stanley's out, so that's a big loss for them. But look, I mean, the Bucs, the Ravens have shown that they've actually been pretty good with the guys next man up. So we'll see how that goes with the O-line. I'm looking forward to this game, though. I think this is the AFC North game. I mean, since are they ready to kind of take that next step? I mean, who knows? I mean, we'll see. I mean, this is going to be one of those games where it's going to be very interesting. But I kind of feel like this is going to be, this could be another one of those really good games. Look, I think this slate's not, I don't want to say it's a bad slate of games, but
oh no.
There's some good ones, but again, with 6 teams on bye, we'll tell you who these 6 teams are in a second. But they've got some pretty good games too on Sunday.
Yeah, we'll get to the rest of them in our next segment. Right now, joining us early is our homegirl, the Queen, Christine Manika from KXRB Radio in Sioux Falls, South Dakota. Christine, how are you?
I'm really quick, Sid. My grandma calls me Christine the Queen, so I have to laugh when you say the Queen.
Oh, good.
That's a nickname. I'm a little bit tired. I actually spent the night last night in Sioux Falls sleeping outside. It was an event for the Bishop Dudley House. It's a homeless shelter here in Sioux Falls, and we were raising awareness for homelessness. And it was a real experience. Let me tell you, that's why I texted Lakeena and I said, give me a second. I need my coffee because I'm still struggling right now, but it's a great organization around here. And I'm so happy to be a part of it.
Yeah, we love the work that you do, especially in the community. So keep it up,
Thank
bringing awareness to various issues. So that's what we love here on Second City Sports. Christine, we'll get into the football in our next segment, but we brought you on for a few minutes. First, let's go to the basketball. The Chicago Bulls, they won their season opener against the Detroit Pistons, 94-88. Some Bulls fans, of course, they were not pleased. Oh, why didn't they blow out the lowly Pistons? They were missing a third rookie. Oh, I'm not happy. We told people to calm the you-know-what down. I'm keeping it clean for the kids. Calm down. This is a process. They're still going to be a good team. They're 1-0. They got the New Orleans Pelicans tonight without Zion Williamson for their home opener. They got the Pistons again tomorrow at home. Don't worry about it. This is going to take time, but they look good so far. What are your early thoughts about the Bulls?
We'll talk about the first game being such a historic rivalry between both of these teams that go, way, way far back. So the fact that they're getting upset about winning the first game against one of the biggest rivals, I don't know why y'all are complaining, like they won. And, for once, I think the Bulls are going to be a decent team this season just because they do have a lot of young talent that is coming into this organization, a historic organization at that. And I also think that they have a coach that actually believes in this team and actually can show them the right direction to possibly getting into the playoffs and possibly getting into that championship question right there. So I have a lot of good feelings about this team. We'll see how the season goes on, but I think this should be a good game against the Pelicans tonight.
How many wins do you have for the Bulls this year, and where do you rank them between 1 and 8 in the Eastern Conference at season's end?
Oh, I'm trying to see how many games are in a season again. It's been a
82.
while.
82. We're back to normal now, so
yeah,
normal. Okay, 82. So you know what? With this team, I'll say a solid. Let's go somewhere down the upright. Let's say 62. I think 62 games. And that's a lot. I know. Maybe. I don't know. That's a very bold prediction. Realistically, probably in the 50s. Maybe 55.
Okay.
55.
Wow, you really have them surprising people.
Well,
which is possible. Which is possible.
It's possible. The goal is 62, which is what I would like to see. Reality, it's probably around 55. Ranking wise, I can see them being at the number 5 spot.
Yeah.
I can see that.
Well, the people need to remember too. This is actually the Bulls' first season opening win in like 5 years. So I think people. Yeah, I mean, come on, they won. They did it for the first time in 5 years. So folks, they need to chill on that. We've been saying this. We had our NBA panel, so go back and watch it on YouTube for folks. You guys missed it on Monday, but look, I have like around like 45 and 50. I think they're very capable. If they stay out, like I said, if they stay out of the play-in. If they either get the 16, okay, that's fine. They're out of the play-in, so I think they're more than capable of being like between the 3 and the 6. I think there's going to be somewhere around there because you never know what the East is going to be like.
Yeah.
All right, look, Christine. We got a couple of minutes left before we had to take our break.
What are you going to grill me on this time?
No. I'll save the other part for the other side of the break. But I put out a tweet last night. Of course, the Chicago Blackhawks, they are 0-4-1. They lost to the Vancouver Canucks last night, 4-1. They honored Patrick Kane, playing his 1,000th game, which happened last year, but there was no fans. And at the UC, they honored him before the game last night. He was there with his girlfriend and the rest of his family, his young son. I put out a tweet before I went to bed last night. I said, Jeremy Collinson, I know the Detroit Red Wings, or the Dead Wings as I call them, they're playing a little bit better to start off the year, but they're still a lowly team. If you're the Blackhawks, I know they made other changes throughout the organization, which they're not popular, but can they and will they do the right thing let me repeat again, and I said this in my tweet last night, if the Blackhawks don't beat Detroit at home on Sunday, head coach Jeremy Collinson should be getting his pink slip and link card Monday morning. What are your thoughts?
I mean, I would hope that that would be the case because we're talking about an organization that had multiple championships in recent years. Now, all of a sudden, they're looking like the team that they were before those championships. And obviously, it's been a number of years. So teams change. Every team changed. You see what happened with the Cubs. They're not the same team that they were before. Why do you think they basically did a whole purge of their team, get rid of everybody? So I would hope that this is what the Blackhawks will do, starting off with the coach, who I believe is still one of the youngest coaches in the NHL.
Yeah.
So he still has a lot to learn himself too. So that's what I would hope. It's definitely going to be a rebuilding process for the Blackhawks if things don't change by Detroit.
Yeah, I think the one thing about about Colleton is that everyone said, well, he's very good looking. Like I remember my mom said, oh, yeah, he's a very good looking guy, which he is, but you know,
I'm gonna deny that. He's not a decent coach.
He's not. And look, I think he's part of the problem. I don't think he's the main problem. Yeah. I think the way the roster's constructed and, you know, how it's managed. I mean, it's just, you know, I just like, I hope they can win, you know, hopefully maybe they can kind of, you know, get things going here. Hope they can beat Detroit, but you know, it just doesn't look good at this point. They haven't had a lead once this year. Not a single minute this year. So I'm a little like, you know, they made fools of themselves on national television against the Islanders. Like I'm verklempt. You know, even look, Ray Ferraro was verklempt. You know, if you guys heard him on ESPN. So yeah.
Yeah. I was tuning into the game. I was last Saturday night. Of course, the Hawks were playing Pittsburgh in Pittsburgh. Of course, no Sidney Crosby, no Evgeny Malkin. I said the Hawks should be more than competitive. After the first period, down 4-0, I turned that crap off. I was like, "You got to be kidding!" I just wasted 45 minutes on a Saturday night that I'll never get back.
Did you just say, "Damn"?
Damn.
We have to put this into consideration too. Jonathan Tays didn't play last year. So I think he's even trying to find his footing back into this team because even they're not the same as they were last year either. So that's probably another challenge added in the mix.
All right, let's all Musa on the Blackhawks. I had to get that out before we take our break. We had to take. We're going to our 2-on-2 break since we reached the bottom of the hour. You listen to Second City Sports on the hashtag Football Friday. Lakeena, Sid, and Christine with you. On the flip side, we'll have our Week 7 picks from the National Football League, and we'll have other fun stuff as well. You're listening to Second City Sports on Sports Zone Chicago.
AutomotiveMap.com presents the Sports Flash on the Sports Zone Chicago. In Sunday's Major League Baseball action, the Cubs got pounded 9-1 at home against Kansas City. The White Sox shut out on the road 9-0 at Tampa. NFL preseason on Saturday, the Bills hammered the Bears 41-15. Andy Dalton, 11 of 17 passing, 146 yards, a touchdown, and an interception. Justin Fields, 9 of 19 for 80 yards. Head coach Matt Nagy says Dalton remains the Week 1 starter and that Fields is ahead of schedule.
When you look at a guy like Justin and you see the things that he's doing, are there some things that he can get better at? Yeah, for sure. That's going to be, we're going to say that 3 years from now. But at the same point in time, for him, there's also things that he's doing better probably than we thought coming into this, which is good too. Like that's what we want. We want that to happen.
Download the free Score app. Lightning fast updates so you never miss a thing. It's why the Score app is one of North America's most popular sports apps. I'm Chuck Sanders. That's the Sports Flash on the Sports Zone Chicago.
Blue Star medicated ointment works fast to relieve the pain and itch of almost any skin irritation.
It's amazing. It's like as soon as you put it on, you can feel it working. We've had Blue Star in the family for years. It works on everything.
I love the cooling sensation on my athlete's foot.
What a relief for my eczema.
Nothing worked on my dry, cracked skin until I tried Blue Star.
Blue Star is great for scalp itch.
Look for the white box with the blue star in the first aid section. Feel Blue Star work fast or your money back.
Want to hear something amazing? Discover matches all the cash back you earn on your credit card at the end of your first year, automatically, dollar for dollar, with no limit on how much you can earn. Extra cash? Come on, how amazing is that? In fact, it's even more amazing when you realize all the places where Discover is accepted. 99% of places in the U.S. that take credit cards. So when it comes to Discover, get used to hearing yes more often. Learn more at discover.com/yes. 2021 Nielsen Report. Limitations apply.
Welcome back to another hashtag Football Friday episode right here on Second City Sports. We're live and in living color right here on Sports Zone Chicago. We have 25 minutes or so left in the show, along with Lakeena McGee and Queen Christine Manika. I am Sydney Brown, as we are about to give you our Week 7 NFL picks. Lakeena, do you have our results from last week and our year totals to date?
Yes, I do. You and I are tied, Sid. We have 60 points. But I have a bone to pick with Buffalo. Thanks to Josh Allen. I don't know if he slipped. I don't know if he tripped on the turf there in Nashville or he tripped on one of his O-line guys. I could have had a lead. We both have 60. I could have had a lead had they won that game. Thanks a lot, Josh. Thanks a lot, Josh Allen's tippy toes or whatever happened, however he tripped. You and I scored 9 games, Sid. You won 8, Christine. You're right. You're actually not too far behind. You're at 58, so you're 2 games behind us. So still a lot of season left, Vale. And it's very close, but. Yeah, we're getting down to the nitty-gritty here. We're more than halfway through the season.
As I quote Christine, since you picked Tennessee, I'm doing it out of spite. I'm going with Buffalo. Yeah, do you like that?
Oh, God.
I had to get it out.
I don't remember.
Oh, now she doesn't remember. Right. That's why you're trailing by 2 games.
Oh my God. Hang on. Come on.
Yeah, as soon as I was watching the end of that game on Monday, I thought of Christine. I love you as a sister, but I was thinking about you during that last play. I was like,
you know what? I just can't believe they lost. I know, right? Believe it.
Well, look. They're off this week, so they'll unfortunately be able to have time to reflect and think about that loss. Also to the Cowboys, the Jaguars. The Jaguars, the Chargers, Vikings, and Steelers. So all 6 of those teams are off this week. So all you guys and gals, adjust your fantasy teams accordingly.
And Urban Meyer still has his job. They won in London last week, so he gets to keep his job.
Yeah. So
and he get an extra lap dance away from social media.
Whoa. Okay. Hello.
Ooh, shots fired.
Okay. Hello.
Moving on. I know
right,
I'm going to hell for that one, but I don't care.
All right. Let's get started before Sid gets into some more trouble here. First game off the gate, you've got the Panthers and the 1-5 Giants. Christine, you start this one for us.
Giants look bad, and the Panthers have lost their last 3 games, so 3 straight losses there. However, the Giants, their O-line is pretty banged up. A lot of teams this year are really not in the best shape injury-wise. But I think, and I hope Carolina could win this one. I hope I'm right. So it's going to be a close one, but I'm going to give this one to Carolina.
I hate to do this, Christine, but I had to agree with you. I'm going with Carolina because there are.
You were going to go against me and be like, you're going to say the Giants?
That would have been bad.
I do this out of logic, not out of feelings, young lady. But I'm going with the Panthers because they are the better team. If the Giants were so banged up in the way they looked last week against perhaps the best team in the NFL, definitely in the NFC and in the Rams, I probably would have went with the Giants, but I don't like that quarterback in Daniel Jones. Saquon Barkley's out. It just looks ugly. Carolina, give them credit. They came back from an 11-point deficit against Minnesota last week at home, even though they should have won that game in overtime. But this is a get-right game for Carolina against a lesser opponent. It's going to be an ugly close game, like Lakeena said. I don't think it's going to be pre-1980s football, but I can see the Panthers winning by 19-16, 20-17, somewhere around that neighborhood. So I'm going with the Panthers.
Yeah, it's not going to be one of those types of games, but I think, look, the Panthers are a little bit better. If the Giants weren't so banged up, maybe I would pick them, but they are banged up, so I'm picking the Panthers. They should be able to win this game. All right, AFC's matchup here. You got the 1-4 Jets fresh off a bye against the 2-4 Patriots. Sid, you start.
We all know that head coach Bill Belichick for the Patriots. He doesn't like the Jets and what happened to him 20+ years ago. I know the Patriots had a tough loss last week at home in front of a national audience against the Cowboys. The Jets had a bye week last week. I think the Jets will play a little bit better, but if Bill Belichick is really focused this week, I think he's going to put the foot up the Giants, you know what. So the Patriots are favored by 7. I know this is not the same team as the time Brady led teams from many years, but New England should do enough to win this game. And plus, like I said, they're in the foul mood, as Lakeena would say, coming off that tough overtime loss to the Cowboys. So I'm going with New England at home.
Christine?
Yeah, I'm going to go with the same thing. New England at home, Mac Jones, he's going to take control over the Jets. That quarterback, I feel bad for him on the Jets. He's just
Zach Wilson.
Yeah, he's just not up to par just yet as much as Mac Jones is at the moment. And they are hungry for a win after that Dallas game and very, very bitter about it too. So I'm going to go with the Patriots.
Yeah, I'm going to go with the Patriots too. I think, like I said before, I think the Patriots really feel like they should have won that game against Dallas last week. So if we know Bill Belichick's not going to be in a very good mood, so I think Matt Jones is going to have one of his best games of the season, and Patriots should win this pretty handily. Intriguing one here. It's your divisional matchup in the AFC. You got the Chiefs and the Titans. I'll start this one. Look, we'll see how. Look, like the bone to pick. Look, the Titans' defense played a great game. But the Chiefs, they're starting to get a little bit better physically. I don't know why, but I guess the Titans always have a way of kind of sneaking up on folks. So I might regret this later, but I'm picking the Titans just because they're at home. I just think the Chiefs are kind of at that point where I really don't know what I'm gonna get from them. I'm sorry, I don't. But I'm picking the Titans because they're at home.
Ooh, I was wrestling with this one too, just because, again, shout out to Tennessee for that win against, the Bills and a great quarterback in Josh Allen. But you got to think of it this way. They're facing another great quarterback, and that's Mahomes. And who knows what he's going to come up with and how he's going to scramble out of the pocket, because he did a crazy throw last week. I don't know if you saw the video from the stands, but it was just out of control. So you never know what to expect. Kansas is getting better. It's going to be an interesting battle, but just because I think Mahomes is a sturdier quarterback and they want more wins, I'm going to go with KC.
Derrick Henry tore up that Buffalo defense, especially in the second half last Monday night. Outside that 2019 AFC title game at Arrowhead, Tennessee has owned the Chiefs the last couple of years during the regular season. Yeah. I expect it to be another classic battle. Derrick Henry is going to carve up that overrated Chiefs defense, and it's going to be a close one. I know the Titans are 4.5 point underdogs. I expect them to cover the spread, but we make picks straight up on this show. I'm going with the Titans as well. So me and Lakeena are going with the Titans.
All right. So a good one here. You got Washington and Green Bay. Sid, you start this one.
Green Bay is favored by 7.5. I want to pick the Washington football team, but
you can't.
I can't. I'm going with Green Bay. Green Bay got away with one last week in Chicago. They really didn't have to do that much. Aaron Rodgers is doing Aaron Rodgers things. The Washington football team, if they can hang around the first quarter, then that might be a miracle for them. I'm not saying this is going to be a blowout, but I have nothing more to say, to be honest with you.
That's it. You're verklempt. He's verklempt, folks. He's verklempt.
Yeah, I'm going to go with Sid and say Green Bay. Expect a big day for them offensively. I wouldn't be surprised if they just kind of squash the Washington team a little bit just because it's Aaron Rodgers and Aaron Rodgers things. So, yeah, it's got to be Green Bay for this one.
Yeah, I'm picking Green Bay as well. If Washington was a little more talented, I don't know what the status is with Terry McLaurin, but yeah. I think the Packers, I think they're starting to kind of find their groove. So I think that Washington will keep it close, but I think the Packers will end up winning it. Christine, you start this next one. You got the 2 or 3 Falcons against the 1 and 5 Dolphins.
Boy, boy. Like this is, I picked the Falcons. Just because Miami, they're so banged up right now. They're injured all the way around. And now there's rumblings of Deshaun Watson that could be on the team. So who knows what's going to happen with that. But I think this one's got to go to the Falcons just because they're not as banged up as Miami is right now.
And plus, I believe Atlanta's coming off a bye week, and
Yeah.
so they should be well rested and ready to go. And plus, Matt Ryan is my fantasy starting quarterback, so he better have a big day for me. So I'm going with Atlanta.
Your fantasy QB.
Yeah. So I'm going with Atlanta.
Yeah, I'll pick the Atlanta too. Like I said, they're fresh off a bye, and I kind of feel like you know what, the Dolphins are kind of in upheaval right now. I mean, there's rumblings that maybe they don't like Tua, and also too with the Deshaun Watson rumors. So there's a lot of upheaval down there in Miami. So I'm picking Atlanta. A good one here in the AFC North. You got the 4-2 Bengals and the 5-1 Ravens. So you start this one.
The Ravens are favored by 6.5. Of course, we mentioned in our last segment, Lakeena, Baltimore had a big win against the San Diego Chargers of Los Angeles. They crushed them last week. Cincinnati, on the flip side, they are one of the surprise teams in the NFL this year. I think then they're going to give Baltimore a game. I know I may regret picking this team, but I'm going with Cincinnati in an upset.
That's surprising. Good for you, Sid. But I'm gonna, go against you once again and say Baltimore because you don't know.
What a shock!
You have to see if Joe Burrow can slow down Lamar Jackson. Can he? I don't know. We're gonna have to see. Plus, Baltimore's at home, and their fans can get just as rowdy as the Cincy fans can. So just because they're at home, I'm gonna go with Baltimore.
Yeah, I've been going back and forth on this one. I don't think Cincy's ready to kind of take that next step yet. Yeah. I think the Ravens. I know Ronnie Stanley's out for the year, so that could be a deterrent for that old line a little bit. But they've had injuries all year, so it's got to be like the next guy up. So I think on the hands of Le'Veon Bell and Latavius Murray, I think they'll be able to run through that front seven of Cincy, and they'll power them to this win, an AFC North showdown. All right, I'll start this one. Lions and Rams. I know Matt Stafford, we talked about it earlier before you came on, Christine, that I'm sure Matt Stafford's had this game circled on his calendar, his Google calendar, or iCalendar. But look, this could be a trap game for the Rams. I don't think it will be. I think Sean McVay will have his guys ready. I know if this was in Detroit, I think maybe this could be a trap game since they're going to be in Los Angeles. I think Stafford has a good game. I know Aaron Donald will probably sack, poor Jared Goff like 4 or 5 times just because they're not that good. So I think I have the Rams, and I have the Rams big.
Yeah, I got the same. I have the Rams too. It's going to be bittersweet for Stafford just because, he's playing against his former team. He's been with them for a long time. And saying that, he should be able to defeat his former team, knowing what kind of plays they're going to be throwing at them. So it's got to be the Rams for this one.
I have the Rams too. They are favored by 15.5. Detroit could cover the spread. That's the $1 million question. Can they cover the spread?
Yeah, that's it.
Answer the question, Sid, next time.
I'll say maybe next time. I'll say maybe next time. Maybe next time. Okay, second of the 3 o'clockers, we got the Eagles and the Rams. Christine, you start this one.
Just because they're at home, I'm gonna go say Vegas with this one. They got a home field advantage. The fan seems to be loving that new field for them. So it's going to be another close one. But yeah, home field, it's going to be the Raiders.
I'm going with Las Vegas as well.
Yeah, I got Vegas too. The Phillies just doesn't have it right now. All right, 3:25. This is going to be the other game on CBS. If you have those who are not going to be watching the Bears game, we got the Texans and the Cardinals. Now, the fact that the Cardinals were able to win against Cleveland in Cleveland without their head coach and their one of the top pass rushers, I think was nothing short of remarkable. This I'm not saying this could be a trap game for him, but I don't know if Cliff Kingsbury will be cleared to coach this week. But look, Vance Joseph is more than capable. He coached at Denver for a few years, so he knows the ropes. They're going to be at home. Texas will keep it close, maybe for maybe a half a quarter, but I think that the Cardinals will pour it on them and they'll stay undefeated.
I'll go with that too. Arizona's going to stay undefeated. And again, this is JJ Watt's former team now.
Yep.
So a lot of emotions are going to be thrown out there for him too. But we all see the mess that the Texans have been in this season. So if you want to go for the more reliable team, I'd go with Arizona for this one.
I'm going with the Cardinals, and they cover the 18-point spread.
Oh, we're doing point
See, I answered
spread.
that question, Christine.
Yeah. All right, you got the Sunday. Okay, yeah, a Sunday nighter here. 49ers fresh off a bye as they host, I should say, the Colts. Sid, you start this one.
There's been questions about the 49ers all year long. Will Jimmy Garoppolo play? Will he not? Indianapolis, Carson Wentz still is struggling with both his ankles. In the beginning of the year, this game was one of the highlight games for Sunday Night Football. It's just now where both franchises are. It's like, really?
Yeah.
Just because I know I'm going to regret this. I know I am. But just because they're at home, I'm going with the 49ers. I have nothing more. I don't.
I'll go with the 49ers too. I actually heard Jimmy G could be back this week. So, that could really be a game changer. Plus, he's an Illinois boy. He went to Elmhurst and whatnot. And like we were talking about the Blackhawk coach, he is very attractive. So very attractive. But I digress. It's got to be Jimmy G just because he's the 49ers. I mean, just because they have a better, stable quarterback and now one that's so injury prone and kind of a disappointment. That's it.
Oh, I'll pick San Fran. We'll probably be regretting this.
Yeah.
Of course, was my throw for like 3 touchdowns or something. But yeah, I think they're fresh off a bye. A little bit, they're a little more talented than the Colts right now. The Colts are banged up, so I'll pick the Colts. I know NBC is probably like, okay, but they wish they could have flexed this game out, but it is what it is.
The 49ers are favored by 4.
Okay, yeah. So take the over on that one. All right, the Monday night right here, you got the Saints and the Seahawks. Sid, you start this one.
No Russell Wilson, even though they have the best rowdy fans in the National Football League. Geno Smith will be your starting quarterback for Seattle. I know they played tough, and especially during that second half last week at Seattle. They gave that game away in overtime. It shows you how bad both those teams are. The Saints, I believe they're coming off a bye week as well. Jameis Winston, he better take care of the football, even though Russell Wilson will not be in on the other side. The Saints have the better talent all around, so the Saints should be able to win this one. They're favored by 4.5. They're the 4.5 point favorite.
Yeah, I'll go with this. I'll go with Nolans too. I mean, no Russell Wilson. He disappointed my fantasy. So yeah.
Who'd you pick up?
Who did I pick? I think it was Sanders.
Okay.
Yeah. I think that's who we ended up picking. So because now Baker's out and it's just a big mess. We are in the rough quarterback situation. So for this game, I'm picking the Saints.
All right, yeah, I'm picking the Saints too. Just I know Cam said that he would like to play in Seattle, but does he really want to play in a situation where in a couple of weeks Russell Wilson will be back?
No,
I can't see that. So I'm picking the Saints for this one. Hopefully, he'll get good, Jameis.
Yeah.
On Monday night. Okay, last but not least, folks, you got the Bears and the Bucs. So I'm gonna keep it short because I want to give you guys a chance to break it down here. Like I said before, I think Tom Brady, this is like the one loss last year that's still stuck with him.
Yep.
And we all know he has the memory of an elephant. He forgets nothing. He knows how embarrassing that was. I'm sure he has like snapshots of the 4. His 4. Put up the 4
downs, 4 downs,
4, 5, whatever. So
5, 4, 3, 2.
And also too, some breaking news here. Some of our buddies, Jason Leisure, who we talked about earlier, Sid and Christine, that apparently Jimmy Graham's now on the COVID protocol list. So now he's gonna be out for this game.
No.
Yeah. So I think that Justin Fields will have a pretty good game. That's a pretty solid Bucs defense still. They'll keep it close. I don't think it'll be a blow like some are predicting, but I think the Bucs will pull away like maybe by the second half, and I think the Bucs will win this game.
Yeah, I first of all, I have to give Fields a lot of credit for holding his own with Rodgers. To be honest, it was kind of a boring game last week. You know, there wasn't a big move. There wasn't really a outstanding play. The only headline is apparently that Aaron Rodgers owns us. You know, maybe he's part of the Arlington deal. Who knows? But like you said, Lakeena, the last time we faced Tom Brady, it was the only loss that he had. That score was 20-19. So we only beat them by one point. And, you know, so Brady wants this win. It's going to be a good game between the two quarterbacks. It's the largest age gap officially now between quarterbacks, which is another historic thing too. So I think Brady really, really wants to show the Bears who's boss with this one. And they do have the home field for Tampa. So it's got to be Tampa Bay for this one, unfortunately.
I'm going with the Bucs as well. They are 12-point favorites. I'm with Lakeena. The Tampa Bay will cover and win. It's not going to be as bad as people think, but it's not going to be as great as people think in terms of you're a Bears fan. I can see a 24-10, 27-10 final, or 30-13 final, somewhere in that neighborhood. And so Tampa Bay will win this one because they're at home. As before you joined us, Christine, I can see Tony Romo giving out bouquets to Tom Brady once again. And he's going to give his sympathies to Justin Fields. It depends on how the game goes.
Yeah, really.
We know, right? So
just let us know the funeral time. That's it.
Oh my gosh. And on that note, those are our all mic drop, Christine. That's your mic drop. Those are our picks for NFL Week 7. So yeah, we went through that pretty quick because, like I said before, I mean, there's one about a 13 game slate, and 16 is on bye. So we still got a few minutes left. So what's on your guys' mind, like sporting wise, like we haven't had a chance to talk about?
Yeah, I want to ask Christine. Of course, the last time she was with us, it was last Friday. The Chicago Sky were in the middle of their championship series against the Phoenix Mercury. Now they're the 2021 champions of the WNBA. Give us your thoughts about Candace Parker returning home and getting the job done, bringing home the championship for our hometown team.
Well, at least one Chicago team won a championship.
Yeah.
Right?
Good for them because, the WNBA, they're so underrated, so underestimated just because they are women. They are women in sports and they don't get as much coverage. And that's just the truth, unfortunately. So it's nice to have the spotlight be on them, to see everyone in Chicago go out to Millennium Park to cheer them on and to celebrate with them. I believe there was another Chicago girl on the team too from Joliet. I can't remember.
Allie Quigley.
Allie, yeah. So to have two Illinois natives bring home the championship, it's amazing. It's a great accomplishment for them, a great first win, first big championship win, and let's hope there's more to come after that.
We have a couple of minutes left right here on Sports Zone Chicago, Second City Sports, #Football Friday. Sid, Lakeena, and Christine with you. Christine, of course, so let's go to baseball as we wind down the league championship series, of course. Game 6 between Houston and Boston from Houston's tonight on FS1. Houston leads that best-of-7 series, 3-2. Do you see Boston forcing a Game 7, or do you see Houston wrapping it up?
Gosh, I hope Boston does. I mean,
me too. I had them as 7.
It's safe to say that nobody wants to see Boston, that nobody wants to see Boston lose, and nobody wants to see Houston move on. I'm surprised there hasn't been trash cans being thrown out on the field yet for Houston, in all honesty. But I hope that they make this game interesting. We'll see what happens tonight, but I'm hoping that Boston can pull this one out for sure.
What about the National League? You think that the Braves will be able to close it out, or will it be deja vu all over again with the Dodgers coming back and beating them in 7?
Yeah, Freddie Freeman, he's quite the entertainer, isn't he?
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
He really knows how to put on a good show for the Braves fans, that's for sure. But then again, the Dodgers are the latest World Series champs, so they're hungry for another win. They want a repeat, so to speak. So I would say the Dodgers are going to give them the run for the money, that's for sure. A quick little story. I ordered a Chicago White Sox face mask last year during the pandemic, and I didn't get that face mask. They sent me a Dodgers one instead. So I don't know if that's I still have that face mask. So I didn't even return it because I'm like, you know what? They just won the World Series. I might as well just have it. So I still have it as a funny story to this day.
And I'll give you a quick reminder, Christine. I believe in May of next year, the Dodgers will come back to Wrigley Field to play the Cubs. So if you can sneak in a trip back to Chicago, you can troll our fellow North Side friends.
You know, the only way I'll go to the North Side and to Wrigley Field is A, if there's a concert there, and B, if the White Sox are there. I cannot physically step in there for a Cubs game. I'll never forget the first time that I stepped into Wrigley Field. It was during my internship at Fox 32. I was with Shea Pepler for the day that Jose Quintana got traded. And I remember just waiting in the car, and the photog, he looked at me, and so did Shay, and they said, "Are you going to make it? Are you okay?" And I'm like, let me just take a minute, because this is my first time stepping out into this area. So I may gag a little bit. And they said, "Oh, yep, been there, done that. We gag too sometimes." So it's kind of a funny experience for me.
Oh, it's a lot of fun. What are you guys looking forward to this weekend? A busy sports weekend. We're kind of getting into the nitty gritty of it. With the baseball playoffs. LCS winding down. NFL Week 7, college football Week 8. Some other big things happening too. El Clasico for all you soccer fans. Barcelona, Real Madrid. That should be a fun one. That's going to be on ESPN Plus. So if you guys have that, check that out. Sunday at 8:15, right at 9:15, I should say, right before the games, NFL games. So a nice little appetizer there. So a lot of great sports this week.
I'm excited for the Notre Dame game. They're playing a big rival, USC. It's pretty early for them to be playing them too. So
right, yeah,
this should be a good one. See, go Irish right here. But yeah, that should be a really good game for them. They're having another great season so far.
Besides another NFL Sunday, as we talked about earlier, Lakeena, the NBA is back. It's a 75th anniversary season. I've been enjoying these games so far. Of course, the Bulls had their home opener tonight against the Pelicans. No Zion Williamson, boo, but it still should be a festive atmosphere at the UC. So I'm really looking forward to watching the Bulls as they'll take on the Pelicans tonight and the Pistons tomorrow at the UC. They should be doing 3-0 by the time we convene here on Monday, Lakeena. So basketball is back. I don't know how big of a basketball fan you are, Christine, outside the Bulls, but it's been the first couple of days, great 3-4 days so far in the NBA.
I've noticed. Yeah, it's great to see that everything's getting back to normal, whatever that means.
Yeah, right. Yeah, some great games. Got Phoenix and the Lakers. That's going to be the nightcapper tonight. Phoenix and Portland, they got to go right back out on the road and play Portland on NBA TV tomorrow. That's a 9:00 tip. Milwaukee and San Antonio. I'm sure Milwaukee will love to have a rebound from that. Just getting shellacked by the Heat last night. So some really great games. So on that note, you can follow me at Keena McGee on the Twitter and at Keena_McGee on the IG.
You can follow yours truly, Sydney Brown, on the Twitter and the IG at SidKid80. Once again, at SidKid80. That's SIDKID80. That's SIDKID80. Christine, where can people follow you on the social media streets?
Follow me on Twitter at CManika_KXRB.
And make sure you download that Sports Zone Chicago app wherever you get your apps, whether it's Apple iTunes Store or Google Play. Make sure that app says Sports Zone Chicago. You can listen to live shows. And if you missed any of them, you can go back to watch the video or listen to the audio version of our shows. Also, Sports Zone Chicago is on all social media platforms. That's Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube at Sports Zone Chicago. Once again, at Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube. Also, if you want to catch the audio version of this podcast, Second City Sports, make sure you subscribe on all podcast platforms at War on Anchor. We're on all podcast platforms, including the iHeartRadio app. Make sure you type in those search engine boxes, WARR on Anchor. And you can follow War Media on all social media platforms. That's Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube. Once again, at WARR Media, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube. Thank you very much for your support.
Like, share, subscribe, and tell your friends.
All right, Lakeena, take us home.
All right, guys, stay warm out there. I know it's getting a little chilly out there up here in the Midwest, so please, bundle up. And also, too, if you're not gonna get the vaccine, wear your mask, wash your hands, and be good to each other. For Sid and Christine, I'm Lakeena. This has been Second City Sports on Sports Zone Chicago, and we'll see you next week on Monday.
Fire Jeremy Carlton and only the Bulls. Holla!
Oh,